One of five woke up when all the engines had left the shed, and he saw a stout man in a suit and a top hat. "Oh, you must be the new engine." "Yes, sir, I'm one of five." The man looked puzzled. "One of five? Never mind." He continued, "I have a job for you, 105. There's a line by the Westby Island that is being built. Neil has been doing the work for a year now, but he is needed on his branch line. Do you think you can do this for him?" Sir, I just got here yesterday and have hardly ever pulled trains. I don't know if I'm capable." The man interrupted. "That's why I'm here. My name is Tupper Hat, the chief mechanical engineer for this railway. I shall help you alongside Neil." "That should be manageable, sir. Thank you." 105 replied with a sigh of relief. "The train you brought yesterday is the one going to the site. Let's go do it together." Mr. Rapp climbed aboard 105 as his driver drove him to the train they brought yesterday evening. They were quickly coupled up and headed off. After they passed the station called Tidmouth, they were diverted onto a single track until they reached a place called Tidmouth Holt, with a small station, tiny yard, and a 3-track shed. "Hello, tank engine. Have you come to help an old engine out?" "Indeed we have," replied Topham. Sir, glad to see you again. I heard the Brigstown Bridge went well." "Indeed. Anyway, Neil, is it possible for you to leave those trucks on a siding for a bit? I'd like some help teaching 105. "Of course, sir." So after Neil dropped his trucks in a siding, he and Mr. Hat helped 105 learn how to handle the breakdown cranes, where to put each wagon, where to put the crane for the workman's usage, and more. He proved to be a quick learner, getting everything in just 5 days. During one of these work days, he was waiting at Tidmouth for Eagle. Brown engine steamed in with a small goods train behind him. "How are things, Thomas?" "Quite well, I think. The men say I'm a lot stronger than Neil. Making things easier, they say." "Oh, good. Neil's been doing well too. He's been having the Norby branch at the moment. As Brendan and Affet are more busy, the small harbour at Kirkrun is slowing down." "Is that good?" "Perhaps. It means that Neil's brothers, Clive and Matthew, can handle the branch now. Now, let me take those empties off your buffers and hand you these." Thomas continued the work. The section between Tidmouth Holt and Navarre Harbour was completed by the 6th of August. When 105 reached the harbour, his whistle could be heard from miles around. Topham Hatt and the chairman of the North Western Railway, Sir Albert Regaby, was waiting for him. "Well done, 105. I am proud of you. You have certainly proven yourself to be a really useful engine," praised Topham Hatt. "I must say I am impressed," continued Sir Albert. "Getting this extension done in just a month is simply impressive. In fact, we are so impressed that we've decided to give you a gift." "A gift, sirs? What?" 105 asked excitedly. "Wait and see," said Sir Topham Hatt with a grin. After shunting his trucks away at Knapford, 105 made his way to the Tidmouth repair yard where a group of workmen were raiding. After 105's boiler cooled down, they started to strip him of his London, Brighton, South Coast Railway black livery. "Hey, that tickles," he laughed, but his mood changed immediately as they applied. "Pink! You! No! Get out of me!" He scowled in disgust. "Calm down," scolded the workman. "It's just an undercoat." He felt hideous and indignant when they finished. But he was yet for another surprise as they started to apply a blue livery with red lining and a big number 1. But there was one more thing installed for 105, as they took 2 golden nameplates and bolted them onto its smoke box. Nameplates that read, "Thomas Newcomen." "Indeed," cried a voice. "Ah, Miss Shed, please don't startle me like that. I just wanted to see how you were liking your gift." the Northwestern Railway's sky blue livery, in the name of the man who created the first steam-based machine, and for the first official locomotive for the Northwestern. Sir, you don't mean, he gasped. Yes. Welcome to the Northwestern Railway, Thomas. Thomas could have whistled in delight if he had steam to. Oh, sir, I can't thank you enough. But what about my home railway? Wouldn't they want me back? Actually, he explained, the LBSC had written you off as lost on war service, so it wasn't that hard to buy you, for quite a sum as well. Thomas smiled. He couldn't really care about that. He had a new permanent home as the #1 engine. Guys, look at my new color, look at my new number, look at my name. Thomas backed into Nafford's sheds in excitement as the other engines stared in awe at the blue tank engine with a #1, Thomas Newcomen, with pride and joy. Great job, Thomas. You certainly deserve to be the #1 engine, praised Emily.
We know how hard you've been working on that project. This railway has been improving ever since your arrival, agreed Neil. Eagle and Stratford smiled at each other. They were the ones seeing Thomas's work throughout the month, as they were the ones often delivering materials and taking the empties away. Just don't get puffed up in the smoke books, Thomas, advised Emily. I know, replied Thomas dismissively. Thomas continued happily until he talked himself to sleep. Where's that train that was supposed to be here 12 minutes ago? Thomas yelled out, waiting impatiently for the next material train to arrive. As he was about to whistle in anger, he heard an unknown whistle as a loud, slow panting filled the air. Finally! What took you so long? I'm sorry, began the engine. The engine I was supposed to double-head the train with broke down and I don't care, snapped Thomas. The railway board is relying on me to put this branch line on time. I can't have you mainland engines slowing this project down. Who even are you, anyway? Excuse you. My name is Edward. I'm the newest engine for this railway. You must be Thomas. The other engines told me about you. I didn't think you to be so rude. Rude! Thomas blew up at him. Look, Eddie, or whatever your name is, I just waited 18 minutes for you, just for you to be 12 minutes late. I can't have that on my project. If this is going to be done on time or even early, I need you to be on time. Edward took a deep breath and talked calmly. Look, I'm going to be your partner for this project. I will deliver materials and take the empty trucks to the yard. If we are to work together, we must, at the very least, be tolerant of each other. Can we agree on that? Thomas sighed with a snarl. Fine. Edward split his train, and he and Thomas took the train down the branch to continue with the work. This continued for a few more days, but tension still rose between them. A few accidents continued along the construction, with the two increasingly becoming irritated at each other. As the tail end of the first half of the construction was ending, Thomas and Edward had so much tension that it could be cut with a butter knife. At the end of another day, they arrived at the shed at Tidmouth Holt. Just as they were about to start arguing again, the foreman walked up. You two listen up. Tomorrow's a very important day. Steel and brick are going to be needed to construct a tunnel. You two are to carry trains of those until we reach Tidmouth, and then we shall continue to Ellsborough. I trust this can be done without issue? Yes, sir. Good. Good night. Good night. Not to you, said Thomas bluntly. Edward sighed as he fell asleep. Thomas eventually followed. Edward found Thomas shunting at Nafford, a train behind him the next morning. Finally! Sorry, Thomas. Let's get going. We can double. Hurry up and get coupled on. We're late enough as is. The two engines soon headed off, their long goods train rattling behind them. As the two engines arrived at Brenton, the harbour master ran. Edward, thank goodness you're here. A hospital ship just arrived and the engine needs to be taken down to Westworth Hospital immediately, and you're the quickest engine there. Get turned around and get going. Edward quickly steamed off, leaving Thomas behind. Your train's on the west side, he said to the tank engine. Take what you can carry, no more. You have to take the long way. Long way? Huh, didn't even know there was one. Thomas found the two trains filled to the brim with bricks. I can take both, and so he did. He shunted the two trains together and headed off. As Thomas continued towards Lower Sudbury, Edward tore past him on the down line, going at the speed limit. He sniffed at the express engine, but stayed quiet, understanding the reason why. He soon turned left. He had noticed this section of track before, but didn't think much of it until now. He was on the Sudbury to Marin line. The line was slightly steeper than the split-off from Wellsworth, but was not impossible for Thomas, as he found himself on the eastern section for the main line for the first time. He would have never seen what was up ahead. The Marin incline, though not the steepest in Britain or Sodor at a 1 in 75 angle, is the longest at a whopping 5 miles, but only on the western side. The eastern side is a long decline spanning the rest of the island, except a small section right after. An equally steep half-mile climb, but Thomas and his crew were completely unaware of the hill. As Thomas started the climb, he struggled, but he successfully made it. As they sped up after the climb, the other side quickly took control of them. "Brakes, driver! Brakes!" Thomas cried. "It's on full!" Thomas was frantic as the train surged them on. He and his crew were becoming gravity's passengers, his brakes being nowhere enough to stop the train. "Edward!" cried Thomas as he tore past Wellsworth. "Uncouple me!" A porter jumped down and uncoupled him, and he raced off. Edward slowly overtook until the lines ahead connected, and he clanged as he was now on the same line as Thomas. Edward's driver began to curtail his engine's speed as they raced onto the open countryside. "Careful," called Edward's driver as Edward buffered up to Thomas. "Now!" Edward's driver slammed on the brakes and laid on Edward's whistle as he began to take control of the train. The train continued on and on as they rocketed through the countryside. Then, "We're slowing! Not enough!" cried Edward. A passenger train was at Crosby. The driver set the reverser forward, threw the regulator back, and laid on Edward's whistle again as it screamed as they drew closer and closer towards the inevitable crash. Edward opened his eyes, his buffers only inches from the brake coach. "What happened?" asked Swift from the front of the train. "I'll tell you what happened," said Ed's driver. "Edward's a hero!" The passengers erupted into a massive applause. "Where's Edward? He's going to be late." A familiar man stepped up to the podium. "Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and engines. For starters, please allow me to introduce myself. I am Albert Regaby, the chairman of the Northwestern Railway. These engines that stand next to us have done a brilliant job since 1914 to extend the main line from Barrow and Furness here and to Knapford. And I would like to thank our number one, Thomas Newcomen, for his work on the Alsburg branch. Now, back to all of you. The Northwestern Railway will always be here to provide an excellent service for you, your goods, and employment, with friendly staff and engines to brighten your time on this island. Now, I'll let the new controller of this railway to continue the speech." Thank you, Mr. Rugby. Hello all. My name is Topham Hatt, otherwise known as the Fat Director. I am most honored to be the controller of this brilliant railway, and I am most proud of the engines that helped make this railway from what it is now, from the Soro and mainland engines to our most recent additions. Now, instead of me touting on about our services, how about instead you experience it for yourself? Edwin, please introduce our newest addition, Northwestern Railway Number 2, Edward, with our new express service, the Wild Nor'Wester. Edward, with his brand new Northwestern sky blue livery, with the number 2 on his tender, back down with a set of green and cream coaches behind him. Like my new paint, Thomas? Still looks better on me, copycat. The Fat Director continued. Starting at Vicarstown, stopping at Curvin's Gate, and terminating at Knapford, the express will be our top-link service and is dedicated to bringing you to your destination safely and on time. Now, I declare the North Western Railway open! The passengers swarmed into Edward's coaches as the board of directors also joined the train. Edward gave a small laugh as the guard blew his whistle as he set off with the express.